Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Board Game Specialist. I am Melanie.
And I'm Carla.
And today we're doing our top 9 nautical themed games. This is a theme that I went a little crazy with. Not tons, but and not even in just board games, like house decor and all that stuff. I'm from a fishing village in New Brunswick, and I have been gone since, well, I've left the village, I was 10 years old, but I left New Brunswick, I was 20 years old. So I haven't been there I've been, but I haven't lived there in a long time. And every time I go back, it tends to be like almost every 5 years, you get the sound of the wave and the smell of the ocean. And I'm like, oh my God, I miss this. So I kind of keep getting nautical stuff to kind of as a reminder of back home, right?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah. And when you play games that has like the nautical, it's like, okay, this was cool just because of that. So definitely, I'm excited for this theme. Now, this was recommended by Kayla.
Right.
We didn't even come up with this on our own.
Because we have done Viking and pirate games, so she said you should do one that doesn't include those.
Yes. And here it is. This is what we're doing. Perfect. Now, before we get started, we've got some exciting news. Both me and Carla are like packed. We're ready to go. We're heading to the Rocky Mountain Retreat. And it's going to be amazing. 4 days. Yeah. And I the first time I went, because this will be my second year attending. This will be Carla's first year. Mm-hmm. I know with FallCon, by the third day, I'm done. I'm pooped. So see how 4 days go.
Exactly.
I don't remember being like exhausted, but I don't know.
Maybe because it's more of a cozier feel than a convention.
A private event, so it's not
it's not so loud.
Crowd.
It's stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be the difference. And we're kind of in a cabin atmosphere, so that might make
we don't have to kind of drive and travel to our room. Like we just walk across the little path and stuff. So it'll be good. I'm so excited, and I'm glad you're coming, because then me and you, whenever we have a gaming event, we get stuff played.
Yeah. Yeah, well, not usually at conventions. Like we kind of all split up at conventions, but this one is different, so we'll
because it'll be together. A smaller group. It also has less women than regular events. Mm-hmm. So but
we're about
we know a few people coming.
80% or like 20%.
Yeah. Maybe not very much.
Not even. Yeah. That's all right.
Not that it makes a difference at all, but
no, not at all.
All righty, so that's great. We're excited, and actually, we didn't even talk about what our next episode is, but I'm assuming we're doing a recap of the retreat.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so that's like normally before we start, we're like, okay, what's next episode again? And we didn't even do that. We just jumped straight into the recording.
Yeah.
Perfect. Well, let's get started with the recording. And I have our presentation here. So top 9 nautical games. But before we get into that, we're going to start with what we've been playing lately. We're going to start with you, Carla.
All right. So I have this game that I had kind of passed upon for a long time. It's been out for, I think, a couple years. I think it was 2024. Could be the end of that or beginning of 2025. But this one is called A Place for All Your Books, or For All My Books. Place for All My Books. Now, when it first came out, looking at the art, which I do like the art, but I assumed it was a game in the Flamecraft Craft Kitchen world, and I have played those games, and they're okay to me. I mean, I don't think they're bad designs. They're just not something I super enjoy. Yeah, enjoy.
Right.
So I just kind of put this in that category and thought, oh, it's probably just another type of that game. And I don't know if it's the same artist. I didn't actually look, but so I didn't really, pay too much attention. I didn't back it on Kickstarter or anything like that. And then it had been out for a while, and the reviews started coming in, And a lot of, especially solo gamers, were saying this is an excellent solo game and a great
Hmm.
multiplayer game. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it just looks really simple. Which do play some simple solo games, but I do like them have a little bit of crunch to them. So
Right.
I kept kind of watching reviews, and then I decided, okay, that's it. I'm gonna try to find one of these, a copy, and I wanted to get the deluxe version, and the only reason is not because like the base version is actually beautiful. There's just like some minor differences, but it comes in like a fold book box, and it literally looks like a really grand book, which I love
And we
buying
just see
games
the
like
little
that.
bit of bottom on here. I focused on the game in the
Oh yeah,
picture,
you can
but
only see the little thing. But so this one then I can put on my bookshelf. It doesn't take room up
where
in
we
my
can't
game shelf.
see
Yeah, where
where
no one
you
knows.
camouflage the
They just think
games.
I have all these books. But it's so that was a big seller after the fact that I wanted the game. And the base game just comes like in a normal game box. So I looked for that and it didn't come up. There was, it was a Kickstarter, and I thought, oh, maybe they're not really selling those retail. And then Board Game Bliss had one for sale, and it was like a damaged copy. And I thought, well, I wonder how damaged it could be because of the material on it. It's not cardboard, the top, so that like, it would just kind of look like a little bit of a used book. And so what happened was it was $10 off that, and then they had a sale for like all the Ding and Dent games were another 20% off. So
Oh
I ended up
wow.
getting it for less than what the retail version was. Anyway, so it came and I tried it out, and it is fabulous. It's such a neat solo game. I haven't tried it multiplayer. Have to try that sometime soon, but what you're doing is you're playing as an introvert, basically, and you are organizing all your books. And we could pretend they're games in your house on shelves
Right.
and just different places in your house and different rooms. And so they get stacked, and the books are all different colors. They're all wooden. In the deluxe version, they're gold foiled, so they're
Oh
really, really
nice.
pretty. And so you start with a few stacks of books in your apartment, and then you have a social battery. And it's neat because you can do things in your apartment. You can reorganize your books and do different things, and that will increase your social battery. And then once you get enough, you can go into the city or the town, whatever it is, and, face all the people. So for introverts, that's not the most favorite thing. And I myself was always an extrovert my whole life, but I swear COVID made me much
That's
more
what
introverted
changed you.
because I love being at home now. I love, being at home, solo gaming, playing games with family, reading, working out. I like to be at home. And now I totally feel this. When I go out, I'm good for a couple hours, unless I'm at a gaming event that I can handle. But other things, like almost just anything, then it's like when I get to go home, I'm like, oh, yes. And I think that's what it is. I need to recharge now. So I really love how thematic that is. But anyway, you go
Mhm.
into town, and then that's a way to get more books. You can also buy these neat things, which are different cards, and they kind of give you like little bonuses in the game or like a power throughout the game. And they're really cute because there's lots of different things like puzzles and board games and stuffies and bookshelves and all different things that, book lovers or game lovers love to have to show off their books or just feel warm and cozy at home. Now, in the solo game, you're playing this super extrovert person who's always in the village the whole time, just like, taking up the books and just gaining points, never needs to go back to their apartment. And you're trying to diminish how many points they can get. And it's a neat system because they have a card system where you'll play a card, and depending how many cards are out on her like tableau, she'll have an action, and the more cards that are out, the more powerful her action is. And there's a way to get rid of those cards by completing these little, I'm going to call them missions, but that's not what they are. And then when you complete them, you look at the colors on those missions, and you get to remove some of those cards from there. So you're just trying to like keep her cards at a low amount so she doesn't get to do these big actions and get a whole bunch of points. And in the meantime, you're trying to complete these projects and get points and increase your social battery. And then some have end game on them, and then there's also like in-game objectives that you're kind of trying to complete, or if they're end game, you're trying to get as most as you can out of them. And it's really a tricky little puzzle. Like, it's very abstract, but you really have to organize how you're going to do things, because there's only a certain amount of times you can go into the village, and that's kind of a time tracker. In a multiplayer game, it'll be interesting because every time somebody goes, that time tracker is going to go down. So it's going to be quite a race to get your stuff done before the game ends. But it's really delightful. I didn't expect it to be this crunchy and fun. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to playing this one multiplayer. But that's
Nice.
a place for all my books.
Very nice. Yeah, that's a cool looking game. I find it's funny, the extrovert and the social battery. That's hilarious.
I know. It's very cute.
All right. My gameplay, and oh yes, I remember now. This is Agent Avenue. My friend Travis came over and we did a quick recording, and then we played this game. Well, we played a couple of games afterward, this one being one of them. And I had seen pictures of this one lately and had not played it. And we ended up playing it like 3 times in a row because this is a quick game. Like, it is quick. 15 minutes. It might be pushing it. And then the game is over. And then you just kind of, okay, let's go again. So with this one, it's a 2-player game, 1 versus 1, and you have these cards in front of you, and you're going to place 2 cards. You're going to put one face up, one face down. The other player is going to decide what they want, and then you get whatever they didn't take. So you're going to try to, you're trying to influence by what you're showing, what you're not showing, and bluffing possibly. To what you're hoping to get and what you're going to get them to pick up. Now, one of us is a dog, the other one is a cat, and it's like a chase of cat and dog. And the first one to go around and catch the other one wins. So when you place a card, depending on what you place, you're going to move by what is showing on there. So right now, if I played the Sentinel and I don't have any other Sentinel, I would move 0. Because that's the first set of numbers. Now, if I had a second one, then I would move by 2. So then I would be able to move my guy forward 2. And if I put a third one, then I'm moving by 6, which is a nice big number. And chances are I would catch up to the other player with that one. Now, if I end up getting the Saboteur, I'm getting a -1. And then there's like a second card of that would be another -1. So you're moving backwards on this little round track. So you're kind of got these different things. Now there's some of them that, like the Code Breaker, the first 2 cards you get of that one doesn't move you at all. But if you get a third one, then you instantly win, whether you caught them or not. So that's a neat one to get, but you're not moving forward with it. You also kind of trying to have the other player not take those ones if you can avoid it, because you don't want them to win that way. There's another one that moves you quite a bit, but if you get a third one, you instantly lose. So you're avoiding that one as well. Now, if you land on the corner of the board, you get to acquire a new tile. Like, it's like a little card or tile, but it'll give you like either an instant ability. So maybe it'll move you forward by 1 or 3 or whatever. Or it gives you an ongoing ability where the Saboteur don't count as negative and actually move forward with them or something like that. So it's just so quick, very, very simple, but it is so satisfying. It was so, like, the artwork is really cute. It kind of looks like, what's the one with the bunny and the fox? You have no little kids. Why would you know?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, like a game? Are you talking
No,
about?
it's like a cartoon, a movie. And then there's a sloth that's like works at the DMV or whatever. I can't remember what the name is, but the artwork reminds me of that that cartoon or the movie. But it's just really cute and it's really satisfying, but so quick. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
one that
cute.
now I don't own it yet, but I think I
Hmm.
do want it because this would be a great one to be like, oh, let's play something real quick after supper,
Hmm.
or like it fits in easy in a busy lifestyle, or it's just one that's easy to get to the table.
Yeah.
And I think it would go over well with my players. So that is my recent play, Agent Avenue. Have you
Yeah,
played
this
this
was a
one,
fun
Carla?
one. Yeah,
Nice.
I've played it only on BGA, and actually Chris and I played it on BGA one time with when we
Oh,
had all
nice.
of us on Discord and then everybody left, so we had one more game. We played this one. But yeah, it's fun.
Nice.
I like it. And we didn't play the other side. You must have obviously played the other side of the board because I don't think we had abilities on our board, our side.
Oh, I see. Okay,
But if
yeah.
you flip it over, then it's a little bit more complicated game. But yeah, it's fun. And we might have even played a couple times. I can't remember now. But I've played it so many times on BJ, and sometimes it's like a 5 minute game because I'll
Yeah,
play it
it's
in
quick.
real time because it's so fast. And then it's like, oh shoot! But yeah, it gets your heart racing because you're just like, okay, what are they playing? What is under that card? What are they
Right?
trying to make me take?
Yeah,
So neat.
I know. It's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just that's a really neat part of
yeah.
that game. So
This one I'll
nice,
definitely pick up as well. It's a good one.
nice.
Mm.
All righty, so we're gonna get now started with our top 9 nautical games, and we are going to be starting with you, Carla. What's your number 9?
So before I reveal, when we had talked about this, I'm like, I don't know if I have nine like without Viking or I thought it was just Viking. We weren't doing it first, so I had listed one pirate, but I quickly removed that. So I went through all my games, and actually I've played quite a few. So it
Nice.
just wasn't obvious to me at the time. But
Yeah.
my first one I'm talking about is the smallest version of Sleeping Gods, and that's Sleeping Gods Primeval Peril. And the reason I chose this one, I love all of them. They're all like a kind of a storytelling uh, combat. You're doing a bit in there, but it's a cooperative game, which I like because you
Mhm.
can easily play this solo. Lots of exploring, and it's nice because it has one of those books that's like a spiral bound book, and you flip through the map as you move around.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
So, yeah, so you start in this one area, and then your crew is in front of you, and you play all characters. If you're playing solo, even, or if with other people, you would even out the characters. Someone might have more because there's an odd number.
Okay.
And then you basically will flip an event card, something will happen, and you're going to choose to do something on the map. You're going to maybe choose to do something where you are, and it's kind of like it'll give you a symbol, and then there could be like a letter. I'm thinking, is this they have the same way as Sleeping Gods? I have this. It's been about a year since I played this, so I'm a little rusty on
I've
the
never
rules here,
played
but
Sleeping God, so I can't help you at all.
no, this one would be a good one for you because you don't have to do a whole campaign. You can
Love
almost go
it.
through this whole campaign in a couple hours, or at least
Oh,
half of
okay.
it because it's quite smaller. It's kind of a condensed version of it. But it's neat
Right.
because you'll choose to do something. You might move into something where it gives you like resources or they call them skills, and you have rooms on all your characters to put them so you can choose who gets it, or you have a little bit of storage too that you can put. You might come into a challenge that you have to do, and the challenges will be like, okay, somebody who has high strength, you're going to want to get to use them, so you're going to use their what's the word they call it their stamina. So you have these little chips, everyone starts with 3, and you'll have to pay one of those for them to be involved in the action. And if it's a challenge one, depending what their strength of, like if they need, like I said, strength, you're going to choose your character with the most strength. You're going to roll dice and then no, sorry, you're going to flip a card and you're going to see what that totals. And if you've overcome it, then you'll get something positive. If you have not overcome it, you're going to get something negative. And it's not terribly negative, but you'll probably lose some health. Everybody starts like at their full health. And then you'll carry on and keep doing actions until, they're down to almost nothing, and then you're going to want to reset, which is like a pass. But the one really cool thing about the combat here is they do it quite neat, and it's very similar in the Sleeping Gods and the Distant Skies. He changed it a bit in Distant Skies, and I feel like this one is closest to that. It's neat because you have like these cards which are going to be your characters that you're combating, and they have this grid on them, and you have to try to get rid of all their health. Well, they're spread out, and so it's neat because when you do a combat, you're going to have a strength of your combat, and you're going to use that to cover an area of the squares. And so they have to be touching each other orthogonally. So you might like get a nice big chunk on one of the creatures or characters, whoever you're combating, and then then they're going to fight back, and then you're going to fight, and so on, and you're trying to reduce their health basically before they reduce yours. But it's such a neat way of doing combat. I didn't describe it very good at all, but I'm sure people know this, or if not, you should really watch a video on how it's done, because it's so clever. And I'm usually not someone who loves combat in a game, but this one makes it very puzzly, like, because you really have to figure out like an abstract puzzle to in order to, come out with the best outcome, basically. But it's such a neat way of playing a game with adding some storytelling to it, because you're
Mm.
really following a story, and you really, have to use your characters' powers wisely. They each have something that they can do better than the other person. You have to manage your resources, and then you have to repair your ship. Sometimes it's kind of gets damaged, and if it's damaged and you do stuff and it's, it can just completely halt, and then you have to do everything to try and repair it. And it's just, I don't know, it's just a really neat type of game, because you have this log you can see in the bottom right corner there with this like old map, and you're going to cross off areas. Sometimes when you do an action or explore, they'll say, okay, now cross this off, so you can't go back to it. So it's just kind of
Oh,
a one-time thing, but it's just a clever way of playing a storytelling game with so much game still in it. Like some
yeah.
storytelling games are more story, less game.
Yeah,
This
yeah,
one
yeah.
I would say is more game, but still has that story element to it. But it's really neat, and the whole series of the Sleeping Skies is great. I just chose this one because it's most accessible, especially if you're not into playing a whole like campaign. This one is really good to get into. So yeah, that's my number 9, Sleeping Gods Primeval Peril.
Nice. Very cool. Yeah, I have to try those ones someday.
Yeah.
All right, my number 9 is Oceanos. So this is a game that I have and I've had for a little while. And it was like, I kind of went through my list. I was just going through like all the games I have, and I was like, which one screams nautical to me? And this one definitely did. Now, it, instead of being like it's under ocean, we each have a submarine, and this kind
Mhm.
of all comes together like in puzzle pieces. So your
Oh,
submarine, I
neat.
think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces to your submarine, and you can upgrade different portion. Like they've got 3 level of each one, where you would kind of take out the piece and you would put the new piece. But you also have these cards that you're going to gather, and it's like a set collection where you're trying to put together. You got like the top level, like that's just at the surface, and you got the second level, and you got the deeper level, and like the card gets darker and darker, and it kind of creates this whole image of this underwater area, right? But then you're
Hmm.
kind of looking at what icon is on each card and what you're putting together as well. And then there's like the treasures that you're gonna go and dig into the bag to pull out the treasure cards. So now I played this one; it was a long time ago. So I know I lived here, so it's within the last 3 years, but I'm a little rusty on the rules. But I just remember the beautiful scenery that you're like nautical scenery that you're creating. Now all the characters like you have like they're all very cartoony. Like the whale has a monocle. The hammer shark has a little top hat and that sort of stuff. So it's very cartoony looking, but it's beautiful. And it was kind of satisfying with like trying to upgrade your submarine. And then each player has their own submarine, and each submarine is different from each other. So you kind of have this, and they almost like the submarine almost has like a steampunk feel to them. But yeah, it was a neat game. One that I definitely should play again, so I can better explain it later or the next time. But it definitely has a strong nautical theme, and that is Oceanos. Have you played this one?
No, I've seen it at your house, and I've always been like, oh, that's one that I want to try out.
It's pretty. Like the box
Yeah, it's
definitely
cute.
the whole. And I like yellow games. I find they've yellow games has like neat components in their game. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. My number 8 is Aquatica. Now, this one is an older game. Older, I'm saying like over 5 years, I think, when the first one came out. And then there's been expansion since. But it is such a cool game. If you've played, um, what's it called? Concordia. It has that same card play in it
Okay.
where you start with a hand of
Oh.
cards and everybody has the same hand of cards basically, and then they can purchase more cards. But there's a big difference. It's not doesn't play like that. It's just the hand management part is the same. And so you do these actions where you're trying to acquire all these cards, and you can do them in different ways by either buying them or um, I forget what the term is, attacking them basically. So you can there's like a cost on them for a money cost, and then there's like a battle cost kind of thing that you can get. But anyway, so when you get these cards, you tuck them in your board, and you tuck them just so that all everything shows on the card, and then you can use the little things on the side. And the sides of them
Oh.
are like, you can use the money to buy something, then you slide it up. You can use the combat power, and then you slide it up. And then there's a blank spot, so you need something else to be able to slide that card up. And what you're trying to do is slide them all the way up, because then you can score them. And they have a scoring on the bottom, and sometimes they'll have a bonus. And you have these little manta rays, and everyone starts with 4 in their player color. And they're a plus. One is a one slide up, one's $1, one's a combat point, and now I can't remember what the fourth one is. But
Are those cardboard or
when
are
you
they
use them, you
plastic?
no, they're plastic. Yeah, they're
Because
plastic.
yeah, they
They're
look
really neat.
3D.
Yeah,
That
they're
looks
very
super
neat.
cool.
Yeah, you haven't played this?
I have not played this.
Oh my gosh, yeah, no, it's such a good game. And it's like one of those games that plays in under an hour. Like it's so fast.
Oh,
But so you'll flip these things when you use them. And then sometimes when you've scored some of your cards, they'll give you a new manta ray, and you see there's a big pile at the top there, and so you get to take one of those, and then you'll have more. So you kind of build this little manta ray engine to help you buy things and do things. Now the other thing is you're going to acquire cards. So the bottom row of that big game board is cards, and there are different costs. Like the first one I think might even be free, and then it kind of goes from there. And that deck is basically the timer of the game. So as those cards dwindle, that'll determine the time. But it's also neat because you have when you gain more cards, you're going to be able to do more powerful things. And there's a few take that cards in it that'll make people discard cards or whatnot. But then, just like in Concordia, there's a card that will collect all your cards back into your hand, and then you get to flip all your manta rays back so that they're available again for use. And then at the top of the game board, you have these 4 goals that's actually another timer of the game. When somebody gets all 4 goals, that can trigger the end. But the first person to do it is going to get to go to the higher point of the track. So there's like slots for everybody, and then the first player, I don't know, might get 8 points, and then it goes like 5, 3, and whatnot. But you have to use your own one of your manta rays to do it. So you want to complete those, but you don't want to do it too early because you don't want to get rid of your manta rays, because that's a lot of, helps you buy more cards. And then they have this other one thing, it's called scouting, and that's one of your card actions, and that will slide all the cards up that not the action cards, but the cards that you're going to slide onto your board. We'll slide them up, and then they get cheaper on the top row, and then you get a whole new row on the bottom. So it gives you another way to buy them and see more cards out there, because there's also like a bit of a kind of a set collection because your color is going to give you more points at the end of the game, kind of thing. So sometimes you want to sift through the deck to get better ones. And there's some that are just a few points, and there's some that are quite a few points. Or you might be choosing them for the actions they are that slide up, and then you can really combo out because you can slide this one to slide to, buy this card that will let you push this card up, and you can just all these combos can happen, and it's super fun. I really love this game. You don't hear a whole lot about it. I know Vassal loved this game. He talked about it. I think he might have even put it in his line, the Dice Tower line. I can't remember, but it's one of those games where you just feel like you've played a real crunchy game, and I swear it's like a 45-minute game, but it's awesome. And that's my number 8, Aquatica.
Yeah, it looks cool. Definitely fits the theme. Alrighty, my number 8 is fishing. So when I lived in the fishing village, my dad was a crab fisherman. My uncle was a lobster fisherman. So that was the big business there, right? So I remember we would drive my dad when he would go off because he'd be gone for the whole fishing season, and then he'd come back, and then we'd take him, and all the fishing boats all going out at the same time. It was kind of cool to see. And that image definitely kind of portrays that. Now, this is a trick-taking game, and sure, I could see how the theme kind of fit, but they could have put probably anything else. Mm-hmm. The artwork is cute. You got the crab, the seahorse, the fish, and that sort of stuff. But and this game is really interesting because you want to win tricks. When you win tricks, every card that you collect are points. So if you don't win tricks, you're not winning the game. However, if you don't win tricks, you end up with less cards. Every time you have less than the amount of card you need to have in your hand for the next round. And I think it starts at 10 or 9, and then it kind of goes up a little bit. But you start with those amount of cards. Now, if let's say it's 10 and I only have 4, then I get to pick up 6 cards to make up my hand. So you're going to go and pick up those cards, and the cards that are in the draw piles are better. Now, if you go into the draw piles right away, you're going to get the top of the card, which are better than the base cards of the game, but there's even better the deeper you go. And you're going to get the trump suit, which are not in your hands to begin with, and that's the green card. So that's trump. Or you're going to get, I think the cards are from 1 to 10, but then when you go and pick it up, you're going to find 12 and 13s and 14s and bigger number cards in there. So that's great to be able to pick. Now, it's also kind of matters when you win the trick. Be like, okay, you guys all put a bunch of low cards, and that means I'm not going to win a whole lot with those. So maybe I'm not going to try to win that one. I'll save my trump for a higher, better looking hand or whatever. And every time you win the trick, you kind of take them and they go on this one card. I think they go in the net because you've caught those. And then at the end, you count them. That's your score for that round. Then they go onto the boat, and you're going to draw your next hand. Now, if you've won a lot of tricks and there's extra cards, they stay in the boat. So next round, you have cards for a while if you've won a lot of tricks because you got all the cards in your hand and all the cards in the boat, and then all the cards you're going to win in the tricks. Now, if you didn't pick up, you might lose a few tricks because the other players have been picking up better cards. So I think it's just such an interesting twist to a trick-taking game that makes this game just so fun. Now, so nautical theme, sure, but it's kind of pasted on. Definitely the artwork is nautical, but this is a trick-taking game, and it honestly could have been probably anything. But I really, really love this game, and that is my number 8, fishing.
Yeah, it's a clever one to add that deck building in with trick-taking again, which is neat. Yeah. All right. My number 7 is another one by Ryan Lockett. My first one was a Ryan Lockett game, and this is Islebound. Now, this one was remade. This is an older game as well that was remade into kind of a deluxe copy where they changed a few things just slightly, but it's
Oh,
such
okay.
a really neat game. It's another, it has a little bit of no, actually this one doesn't really have storytelling. A lot of his games have storytelling, but this one is
Yeah, it does.
probably the one that does not. So you are traveling around in a boat to these different areas and trying to gather different things. You have your player board as a ship, and you have your crew, and you're going to acquire more crew. And you're going to use those crew and exhaust them, and it's neat because they go below your boat. So you have a top part of your boat and a bottom, and they'll go below and they rest, and they have these little like hammocks that they would have in like boats that you kind of that represent them resting there, which is neat. And so you're going to use them for different things. You have on one of the other main boards, there's a influence track. I think it's called, or reputation track. That's what it is. And so this reputation track, when you gain it, you're going to add cubes to it. And it just goes from left to right, and everybody goes on the same one. And it's neat because you always just put them on the leftmost spot. And then when you spend them, you can spend them from anywhere, your color cubes, but you're going to want to spend from the leftmost as well, most likely, because then when other people add it, they're going to get the lesser influence because as you move up, it's going to give you more valuable ones, but that's a neat part of it. And then you're going to do different combats too on some of the islands. Some will let you gain influence, and some will let you hire more crew, and some will let you just gather resources or combat. And what you combat with is you're going to acquire these pirates and sea creatures. And it's neat because they have little dice on the top of them. So you're going to choose when it comes time for you to combat, like, okay, how many of these am I going to use? And you're going to put out those cards. You're going to roll dice depending how many you use. You'll roll the dice and see if you can match those numbers, if you can at least get the minimum of what's on the card. So if there's a 1, you need to at least have a 1. And then it'll give you, say, 1 or 2 combat. With a higher number, like a 5, you would obviously need a 5 or a 6, and that might give you 2. And if you can match it, then you will have overcome it, and you get to put your little cube there, kind of thing. And other people can, still do things on islands where you've already had major influence or combat. They'll just have to spend more power in order to do it. You don't ever really battle each other. You just you can't go, I think, to the same spot where someone is at the time, but you're still trying to complete these kind of like mission type objectives, and that's the reason you're kind of traveling around these islands. And then there's also, you can build different things. I'm going to say houses, but I don't know if they're actually called houses, but those will kind of give you like a little bit of an engine where it'll, give you discounts on things or give you some end game points or certain things like that. But it has a feel of like he did Above and Below. So he kind of took a little bit from that game, and then it kind of has a feel of, the exploring from, I think it was Near and Far. So
Okay.
this one was kind of a mix of it, but without the storytelling in it. But it's
Right.
a really neat game, and it's just beautiful. They made it. I mean, even the first version was, but they added jade, I think it's called, to it. The gems in here, and
Oh, okay.
maybe it's not jade. I can't remember what they're
They're
called, but
green, so it looks
yeah,
like that might
yeah,
be.
it could be jade. But they instead of using books, they kind of took place for that. But the components are really neat. They
Mm,
have a lot of wood, and then I think the deluxe one came with the coins, and that's why I have the coins there. But it's
nice.
such a neat game to play that for an older one, it's it feels like it's a modern game, but
Hmm.
it's a bit older, and that's my number 7, Islebound.
I have not played this one. I think Ryan Lockett, the only game I have played is Near and Far so far of his, and I do enjoy that one. But
Yeah, yeah, that's a good one.
I need to explore some more. Alrighty. My number 7 is Fleet the Dice Game. So this is a roll and write, and what I like about it, it really is about the fishing industry. Like you have the different type of fishing boats that you can acquire and send out, and you're going to be collecting these different catch. Like there's shrimp, fish, lobster, different things that you're going to go and fish. But I mean, it's rolling, right? You'll roll the dice depending on what you roll, what you're going to acquire. And then you have like what's happening in the ocean on the one side, and you have what's happening on land or at the shore on the other side. And there's like different buildings that you can kind of get stuff on. And it was just like, I just really enjoyed the theme of it. And you're trying to kind of upgrade the different industry that you're going to go in for more points and stuff. So, but this is another one that I really need to play again because it's been a while. And it's one of those rolling, like, like you get the rolling rights. The first rolling right I ever played was what is it? The Castle of Burgundy, the dice game. And I think it wasn't even really called a roll and write. It wasn't really that prominent at that point. But these ones, and now you get the roll and write, and there's like multiple sheets involved, and it's getting like definitely much more complex. But it's so satisfying that you have the dice, you roll them, everybody's working on the same dice, yet you all end up somewhere completely different. Yeah. And I think that's interesting. That's the most interesting thing to me about the roll and writes. This is probably like the most complex one I had got at the time with the 2 pages and that sort of stuff. But it's, and I just absolutely loved it for the dice. And you have like the little shrimp on there, and you have the lobster on there, and you have like all the different icons on there. That's just really cool. And so nautical and thematic for sure. And this one being like, definitely this is the fishing industry. And it's very cool. Have you played this one, Carla?
Oh yeah, I have this. I love it.
Nice.
It was like the first like big crunchy roll and write before what's Hadrian's Wall, and then like all the big ones with, well, and then Tend has this big giant sheets, but it was I would say the first crunchy roll and write was this one. Awesome. Nice. All right. My number 6 is Amalfi. Now this one I had got just on production company alone. Uchibakoya is kind of an Asian themed production company where they put out the most beautiful games, and they do all have different artists, but they somehow have the same kind of feel to them. And I had the game, well, actually I'm going to talk about it later, another one from them, but then I saw this in their list and I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I love the look of this. And then I started to look into the game and I was like, oh, this seems really interesting. So what you do in this is you all have this like fleet of ships, and you start with 4, I believe, and you can build more, but you're going to use them to go out onto the map and do actions. And so you'll take a boat sometimes and go out, and it'll give you an action that will let you move boats into one of your ports on the top. And when you do that, that's going to give you, like, it'll give me cloth or wine or wood. I can't remember what the other resource is, but each boat might be worth 2 or 3 of that value. So now those are the resources you have. And then on another turn, you might spend them to buy these cards at the top, or to purchase their other little private actions that you can keep on your board that only you can do. And then you'll slide these boats down, and then they're available for use again. So you're trying to figure out how to maximize your actions that way, because if you put a boat onto the map, it'll stay there for the whole round. But if you can get a way to slide it up, then it comes back down and you're able to use it again. And then you're also going to want to get wood to build more boats so that you have more actions, just like, workers. Now there's also an action that will let you put out these lighthouses, which you have on the bottom. The very bottom board, you have this bread track on the left, and then the lighthouses on the right. And the bread you're going to need sometimes to hire, or I think they call it invite guests, which are, you all start with a hand of cards. They're all different because it's sort of like a non-symmetrical, everyone has kind of like a type of deck that it'll be for different things in the game. So at what they call asymmetrical, right? When it's
Yeah.
not symmetrical, asymmetrical. So my deck might be veered more towards, building ships or something. So I can hire these characters in my hand and I have to pay certain resources or bread for that. And so the bread is also used at the end of the round to feed your ships, the captains or crews on your ships. Now, it's neat because if you use the action to put out lighthouses, then you're opening up more space to get more bread. So that gives you more storage for it. And it's just a really neat puzzle because you're trying to figure out, okay, how many boats am I going to be able to get out this round? The wood action is very popular because if you can't get there, you probably aren't going to build a boat this round. But now if you see one of the cards at the bottom lets you build wood, you might go and buy that private area and so that you can put it in your side of the board and be able to do that. Now you also have these end of round goals at the top. So there's 4 rounds and there's going to be different goals each round that you're probably trying to help score there. Sometimes you completely ignore them because what you're doing is nothing like what that goal does. And then you also have objectives, and you have in-game objectives and end-game as well that you're racing towards and or just trying to get the best at the end. It's just a real neat little engine building puzzle that I've played a few times. I've taught it at Card Treat and then played it on BGA, and I think the last time I had played it was probably in the summer. And then one of our Discord members, he loves this game. We had played it, I think, back then, but then he's like, I want to play this again. I'm like, okay, let's play it. And then we're playing it, and I'm like, oh, I need to read the rules again. I just completely, he just destroyed me. So I'm like, I'm going to really read the rules again, and we'll play this again. So we do have to play this again, but I do love it. I do prefer it on the table. These kind of games, when I have a screen in front of me, I don't feel like I get the most out of it. I like being able to see everything on the table, and I don't know. Sometimes the games like that, I just really don't like doing them on screens, but I do love it that much that I still will try to do it there. But this is my number 6, Amalfi.
That is a beautiful looking game for sure. It's nice.
And it's one of those games that isn't a 2-3 hour game, right? It's an hour game. Yeah.
Neat.
All right. I'll let my dog out. He's whining. I'll let you talk here.
So my number 6 is Hawaii. So, and then I played this one a little while ago, and I was like, hey, so this one totally jumped up at me as a nautical game, but it's about the island of Hawaii. So I'm like, why did I think this was a nautical game? And then I got kind of looking into it, and it definitely is, because you're on the island of Hawaii. Now, this game, you're going to put tiles inside the main board here, and I kind of got the focus on that. And the tiles are different, and you have your worker that's going to go, because it's a worker placement, but you only have the one worker. And what you activate is where your chief is going to land. And where you're going to move to, you're going to have to spend one of the resources. Now, there's 3 resources in this game. There's feet. So they're little footprints, wooden footprints or cardboard footprints that you would spend. And that's the movement that you can do with your chief. You also have the shells, and which is where part of the nautical theme comes in. And the shells are how you're going to purchase tiles, because you are building your kind of village, and you're going to be adding these tiles to build your village. But then you can also go fishing. But then the other thing you're going to get is fruit. And the fruit is a wild resource that could be used for, I guess, the feet or the shells. But and it's just it's really, really neat. You have because you have these different that you can acquire. So you can acquire surfers, or you can acquire hula dancers. And so those are the villagers you're going to get, but you're building your village. But the seashells is what I really remembered out of this game. That was why did I think this was such a nautical theme? But the seashells and the fishing. So I feel like this might be a bit of a stretch when I kind of think about nautical theme, especially compared to what else I've put on my list. But Hawaii is a big island, so everything is ashore. You're surrounded by the ocean, and I feel that it fits. Have you played this one, Carla? Oh, I can't hear you.
Haven't played this one yet. I
No,
do want to
okay.
try this. Yeah.
Is this one of those ones that got remade into like the newer city versions?
I don't think so, not yet. Anyway, I'm sure it will eventually. He's basically remaking all his games, but it's a Feld, you're saying?
Let me bring it up. No, Gregory did.
Oh, okay.
That's
So
why.
yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't
It
get
just had that look, like that
It does
feel.
have a Feld look to it, yeah, for
Doesn't
sure.
it, though? Yeah, but it's really cool. Like apparently it's got horrible reviews from Town Vassal.
Yeah, that can always destroy a game.
Unfortunately, but it's funny because I find me and Tom Vassal sometimes really do not have the same taste as far as game come. Because I thought this one was really interesting. The like it's kind of thinky because you like the resources are fairly limited. So spending the feet to move yours, like, okay, well, I don't want to move too far because that's gonna take too much feet, and I really want to get this and this. And then, but it's always in different place next time you play. So, but yeah, that was my number 6, Hawaii.
Nice. All right, my number 5 is Le Havre. Now, this one's a Uwe Rosenberg game, and I guess it's kind of, I mean, you use ships in this, but you're really on the port of your ships. Most of the game takes place there. But you do acquire ships as well, like cards, and then you are going to ship things out into the sea, across the sea. But that's basically the end of the game. But I still figured this was included in a nautical theme. And this one is one of those kind of engine-y build games, but it's a straight track rundell where you can go as far as you want, or sorry, no, you just move one spot for your action. But what the neat thing is whatever happens on that action, then you're going to choose something, and you're going to either play a card or move your worker or gain one of those big action selections kind of thing. Like it has all these different groupings where you're going to acquire resources, and you can choose to just take everything out of one. That is so satisfying because they get built up because people are doing other things, and then all of a sudden you're like, there's like 8 wood there. I'm taking that. Anyway, you do need food though. This is a feed your people one, and it can sometimes be tricky if you haven't got food. You can always use money, but ideally you would like to gain, fish or cows and then turn them into smoked fish or meat, which will feed more people. Or acquire boats, because boats will automatically have I believe like a chef on their boat, and they will automatically feed so many people. So that's nice to have too. But it's neat because all the resources are just cardboard tiles, and they flip over when they are upgraded. Now, I think you can buy, well, actually, I know you can buy the upgraded chips just like from Quacks,
nice.
which are quite expensive, but it would probably be worth it. I think. I don't have them yet, but they would be something I think I'd be interested in, because it's just neat how, one side is just wood, and then the next side, blanking what actually is on the other side of the wood.
It's like a plank of wood then, or is
plank?
that?
Yeah, I can't remember, but
know.
like fish or smoked fish, wheat turns into bread, cows turn into meat and hide, basically. And they all kind of just do different things, but you're trying to build up cards and buildings and things, because those will give you a lot of points at the end of the game, but they also give you more actions to go to. And if you have them, they're free for you to go to, but everybody else can go to them as well, but they will pay you, and they have to pay you either money or food. And you only ever have one worker the whole game. So people can block these spots, and knowing I know you need to want to flip all those fish. So I'm just going to hang tight there for a bit and do other things. And so it's one of those games where you're like, oh, just get out of my building already. I need to use it. But there's so many different buildings and neat buildings. Like there's I I think there was like a soup kitchen one that like provided food and I can't remember what it was, but there's all these different cards and they will always change in the game because you can bring in different special cards, but it's neat because you're going to shuffle all these cards and place them in these columns and you have to organize them by number. We forgot to do that one game, so it was very tricky. We never got the wharf, so we couldn't build our boats, and we're like, "How's this ever going to happen?" We hadn't put them in order.
Whoops!
But
I think we straightened it out like halfway.
Yeah, we
through
did
the game,
halfway through. We figured out because I'm like, this doesn't feel right. Something's wrong here. But it's one of his neatest games and more unique. Like he has his farming games which kind of all have a little bit of a similar feel, but this one is different. Mm-hmm. It's all about collecting and advancing your resources, and then near the end of the game, you're going to want to get these boats and ship them all in their highest form as possible. Yeah. I don't know, I just love it. It's such a neat one, and that's my number 5, Le Havre.
Nice. Yeah. Cool. All right, my number 5 is Lure. So this is a fishing game. You're fishing. It's fish, so it's very nautical. Oh, look, there's a little turtle on the top of the box too. And this is one that we've actually, like, I bought it a little while ago and hadn't got it to the table for a bit, and then this is one of those ones I kept out when we had to pack up the games. So I brought it out, we played it, and then we played it again and again and again. And it got played quite a bit lately. And it's just such a neat game. Now, the first time I played it was with you at your house, your copy. And I was like, oh, okay. So, and All Play does a really good job at selling their games when you kickstart something and then be like, hey, so it's time you're excited. You're getting your game and like, oh, we have all these extra games. And you're like, yes, 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 yes. Or at least I do. So this is how this one got home, but it's just so neat. So it's a dice rolling and you have 1d20, 1d12, and bunch of d6. And it's a bit push your luck because this was on my push your luck game
this was
last week. Because you decide how many games you're going to bring, and then you reveal, and the least number of dice that you have, you're going to be part of the first one to go fishing, which is great. However, the least number of dice you have, the harder it's going to be to match the requirements of each fish. But you have all these different fish you can fish for, and then they're worth different values. And if you match what they're required, so it could be like you need to have rolled 8 or more total, and that one of your dice is a 5. So if you only bring in 1d6, you're not completing this one, right? So it's just really neat, satisfying. The art of like the fish, they're all colorful, but they're not cartoony. They're kind of lifelike looking fish on there. But it's such a neat, satisfying game. Beautiful. And it's just so satisfying with the dice rolling, dice chucking. So that is my number 5 Lure.
Yeah, I love this one. I did include this in my list. I'm not sure why, but this probably would have been in my list for sure. I do love it. They are coming out, and I don't think it's All Play, but they're coming out with a dice fishing game where you literally have like spots on your cards and you roll dice and you try to complete them somehow.
Kind of more like spots?
Maybe something like that. But I just seen some pictures on Instagram, so I don't know what the play's like, but it looked really cool.
We'll have to stay tuned for that.
And fishing.
Right?
Yeah. All right. My number 4 is Farshore.
Nice.
This is the nautical version of Everdell.
Yes.
And it's neat because you're basically playing Everdell almost the same with a few twists in there. And the big difference, sorry, I'm holding my little grandpup here. Okay, you go down now. The big difference is that you move this boat around the track. And when you do certain actions or build certain cards, depending on what chip is showing up, because it might say, we want this round, you'll get to move your boat if you've built, let's say, what are they called now? Common buildings. And then if you've built a common building, you'll get to move your ship. There's other cards that will let you move your ship, but your ships are basically extra points. But the neat thing is, every few spots, you're going to get these little treasures. And the treasures are like wild tokens, so they're wild resources, which resources are always pretty tight in Everdell. Maybe not near the end of the game, but at the beginning, they're always pretty tight. So if you can get any extra, it's nice. But you might want to keep those treasures because they're worth, I think, 2 points at the end of the game. Or you may have played a card that gives you doubles those points. So you might have a card you played and then you just collect all these treasures and you gather a whole bunch of points. It's a neat way of playing Everdell with just, a few little tweaks to it. And I know this is the version you have. And
Yes.
it's just such a neat way of playing it. You're still building your 15 card village and trying to combo those cards together and build a bit of an engine and then get the most points. But I do love this version of it. I love all the versions, but this one is really a neat one, and that is Farshore, my number 4.
Nice. I love that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great looking game for sure. Alrighty, my number 4 is Finspan, another fishing game. They've got a lot of fishing games lately. It makes sense. We're doing a nautical theme. Of course, they're going to be on here. But Finspan is the third installment of Wingspan, basically.
Yeah.
This one out of the 3, I find it's the easiest one to teach. And it's the easiest one to play. And it also feels a bit more strategic. You're not quite so much at the mercy of the card that you come across. Because there's a lot of movement that happens. Because you're going to have at the end of each round, you're going to score something different. Like in Wingspan. And you're going to, on your turn, either go diving, and your little workers are little divers. That's super cute. So you're either going to go diving or you're going to place a card. And when you place a card, depending on the card, it's either in the shallow water or mid-level, or you're going to go in the deep ocean, right? And you're going to need to place them in the area that they go to. Again, very similar to Wingspan. And then when you go diving, you activate all of the fish that you have along that column, like Wingspan as well. But some actions, like some cards that you put down, will have immediate effect. When you place this one, you get to take 3 cards. Or when you place that one, you can place 2 eggs or 1 small fish or different things like that. Now, some cards, however, has a dive action. So when you dive, it activates and you get to do what that action is. And it could be either that it's just you benefit from that, or everybody gets something, right? And it could be that you get a card, you get an egg, you get a fish, you get to move a fish or something like that. And then you get to the bottom, and then there's 3 columns. And then when you get to the bottom, you can, once per round, activate a bonus as well. That'll give you something extra also. So it's kind of really neat where you're going to put your fish, but also maximizing where you're going to go to activate what's along the areas. Because when you go diving, and then each areas are going to give you, so one's going to, the first one's going to mostly give you cards. The second one's going to give you eggs to put out. The third one's going to give you your eggs are going to hatch into fish, or you're going to be able to move. Because if you ever get 3 little fish into one of the same area, then that 3 little fish is going to turn into a school of fish. Now, the base game, all of these components are just cardboard, and the fish is a cardboard with the egg is a cardboard with an orange egg on it, and you flip it over, it becomes a fish, and then you can trade those in for the 3 fish. This is one where I would say, if you can, get the deluxe component. They are so satisfying. And you have the wooden fish to play with, and then you have the ooey gooey squishy little eggs that are so satisfying. And I really, really like the components in this game. Now, don't throw out your cardboard components, because we always, if we play max player count, we end up like running out and having to pull out the cardboard ones. So I guess that just means I need more upgraded components. But it's just really, really neat. I really enjoy this one. And it's just so satisfying. It has it has similar goals as the Wingspan, but it feels very different playing it. While Wormspan to Windspan definitely had a much more
similar.
they felt more similar. This one does not as much. It has more variety to it, I guess. But all three are great, and this one is my number. What are we on? Number 4, Finspan.
Nice. I didn't include this one. I think I kind of veered away from the fish and went more about the boats. But I mean, it's still nautical. I kind of more did a boat theme, but my next one is called Come Sail Away. Now, this one, you are basically filling a cruise ship. And
neat.
This is such a satisfying puzzle. This is one of a Sashi game, but it's also Daryl Chow. So he's done a few of these Asian games too that I have a couple of his that I really like, and I have some Sashi games that I love. So the two of them together, I thought, oh yes, this is going to be for me for sure. So this is a multiplayer game, but there is a solo variant, which is very similar to it, and it's awesome. What you're doing is you're going to have these cards which have different guests on them, and you're going to get to draft one of those cards, and the cards have different guests that have colors of their dresses, or if the gentleman jackets or whatnot. Now, these colors are in a certain order, and so whatever card you choose, you're going to be able to place the guests either from left to right or right to left. So on your player board, you have all these different guest rooms, and most of them are connected, so you can move from room to room that is connected, but some of them have only certain colors that can go in there. So if I were to play a card that had yellow, blue, blue, I could either place a yellow and then a blue and then a blue, or I could start from the back and go blue, blue, yellow. Now, you only drop one off in each room, so it kind of has like a Mancala feel to it, but you're trying to get the exact colors in the room, so it's very puzzly, and there may be a time where you can't get one color to be in the proper room. So that is a disgruntled guest, and he'll just go off to the side, and he'll be negative points at the end, unless you can get him back onto your boat, which there is a way. Now, some of the rooms are certain colors, like I said, but then other rooms have tables that they want all different colors in them, or they want pairs, so like you can put any 2 pairs in there. And as soon as you, excuse me, put one of them down, that will kind of decide. If I start a yellow in a pair room, I need at least one other yellow and then a pair of another color. So it's really neat. You're also moving up this suitcase track on the top, because each card will usually have a suitcase under one of the guests. And if you can put that guest in its matching colored rooms, you get to move up on this suitcase track. And the things you'll get on there every couple of moves is you'll get to either, excuse me, his throat is itchy. You get to either place one of these little top cabins that you have just randomly drawn from the beginning of the game. And it's just, they're small cabins, and you're going to put them on the right side or the left side of your board. And those are connected to the other tiles that are beside them. So it kind of gives you a little bit more option of moving guests around. And then when you complete them, you get points. You don't get any bonuses for those completed rooms, but the other bonuses from that suitcase action will let you take somebody from the grand staircase, which is the middle of your board. And any colors can go there, but only 3 colors can at a time. And then you can possibly, if you get far enough on that track, you can take guests from the disgruntled and replace them into rooms and make them happy. Now, it's neat because you have this other little track that shows different numbers. And what it means is, if once you get to, I think it's round 5, there's actually 12 rounds in the game. you see like a number 4 there, and those are all randomly put there. Now you have rooms that are numbered. So if my number 4 room is completed at the end of that round, I'm
Oh,
going
okay.
to get an extra 3-point bonus chip. If not,
Nice.
that will get flipped, and you'll still get your normal points if you complete that room, but you won't get the bonus. So you are trying to kind of get those ones that are, showing face up before the round comes. But every time you flip a room, you're either going to get just normal points, or you're going to get to move up on the suitcase track again, which is nice. And it's just a really cool puzzle. I haven't played it multiplayer, but it'll be neat to see how, you might be doing some hate drafting. You might look on their board and you go like, I don't really want any of these cards, but you really want that one, so I'll take this one from you. So it'll be kind of interesting or if you even pay attention to everybody else, because you're really trying to focus on your puzzle too. But it's a very, very satisfying puzzly game, and that's my number 3. Come Sail Away.
Neat. I've heard of this one, but yeah, it looks interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All righty. My number 3 is Into the Blue. So this is a Reiner Knizia game. And it's a kind of a push your luck dice game. So you have it's a diving game. Like you have the board in the middle, and that has like the level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 if you make it all the way down. And then there's treasures underneath that. So, and then everybody has these little kind of plastic see-through seashells of each color, and it has like an area control element to it as well. So on your turn, Yahtzee style, you can roll your dice up to 3 times. Now you need to dive down, so that means you need to get sequential numbers. You got to have the 1, then a 2, and a 3 in order to dive lower. So ideally, if you're going to go and pick up the treasures that are at the very bottom, you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a treasure. So you need to have like the perfect dive to make it all the way down and grab a treasure. Then you have these treasure tiles at the bottom, and you randomly take one, and they have a value to it, but you don't know what's what. And what's great with the treasures is you get to take that and you get it right away. So those are points you've acquired right away. The other one, so let's say I had rolled 1, 2, 2 2s, and 4 3s. Then I could then put a seashell at the 1, the 2, or the 3, depending on the number of dice I have there. So then I could have put 4 seashells at the number 3. The deeper you go, the higher the value you're going to get there. So the first one's going to get like a little token that's going to be worth so many points. I think like the level 5, it's worth 10 points, and that's the most. The top level 1, it's 2 points. But then there's always like a lesser value. So second place then would get the lesser value one. Now, if you have multiple players, like 4 or 5 players, then number 2 and number 3 would get more. Now, what happened is, like, let's say we dive, and then we're kind of at the end of the game, everybody's placed their seashell. So we're now or one person has placed their last seashell that triggers the end of the game. So now we're scoring. Now, if you get an area where you're tied, it's like, well, I have 2 seashells there, you have 2 seashells, so it's tie. Then you look at the top one and see who had the most seashell at the higher levels. So, oh, well, you had 4 and I didn't even have one there, so then they get the tiebreaker, and then they would get the more points. So once you've kind of placed all of your, well, like if somebody's placed all their seashells, you kind of score each level of diving, and whoever has the most points at the end wins the game. So it's a very simple game. Actually, we had their library game night yesterday, and I brought this one, so I could I didn't remember much about this one, so we ended up playing it there a couple times. It's a very simple game. It's really just kind of dice rolling, kind of trying to get the best dive that you can. So this would play well with a younger audience, but the artwork, the components, very beautiful nautical theme. And that is my number 3, Into the Blue.
Nice. I haven't even seen this in your collection. Where is this one?
It's been in there. I don't know.
I noticed them all. How did I miss this?
It's been in there for a few years. I want to say.
Is it a small box?
It's a small box.
Oh, okay. Okay. Because I'm
So that could
thinking,
be
I don't
like
remember
it's
seeing this
like
in your big box
the
areas, but
smaller
okay.
all play box size. Or like
Ah,
not the
gotcha.
small
Yeah.
small one,
The
but
taller.
like
Yeah.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 2 is Ostia. Now this is the other one by Uchibakura that I'm talking about right now. And this one is I played it one time. I think Bernie taught us this game. We had a 4-player game of this, and it took me a lot to actually understand the whole game. Probably halfway through the game, and then I was like, "Okay, I get it now." This one is an interesting one because you have your own player board as a rondelle. And so
Oh,
before
okay,
you
yeah.
can do anything, you move your boats around this rondelle to figure out what action. And it's also Mancala because you're going to pick up boats and then drop them off. So you pick up all the boats from one of the pies and you move around and drop them. And where you land your last one is the action you're going to get. So there's a lot of
Okay.
planning because you think you've got the perfect thing and then you drop that last boat and you're like, oh, but now I only have 2 boats here, so I'm not going to get very strong action. So you might, plan for a weaker action in order to build up for a next stronger action. But the different actions on there are gaining resources, and there's, I think, 3 different spots for resources. One is building ships, and then one is kind of like a wild that you get to choose something else and then go again, which is nice. So it can give you 2 actions basically. Now, the main board is this big map, and it is a one-way rondelle basically, but different routes you can go. But once you choose a route, you can't go back on it. You're going to try to get to the end. Now, as you move along these routes, there's different chips you can pick up, or you can, once you've passed an area, you can build onto it if you use your build action. Now, you want to get to the end of these tracks because they have some end game scoring. And if you don't get to them, you're not going to have end game scoring. The first person that gets to them has like a higher score multiplier than everybody else that gets there. And you're not going to probably get on all the tracks. And I think maybe we've done it a couple times, but possibly not. Now it's neat because then at the end of the game, there's this other track that you're trying to move up, and that's going to multiply points for different things as well. You're also doing like a set collection of these cards that you're going to gather, and that is another action that you can go and purchase these cards. And they have symbols on them on the top and in the middle. And the middle are kind of a set collection where you're trying to get so many of these different symbols, but in like unique sets kind of thing. And some of them are just kind of give you more resources. It's a very cool game. There was like a pirate expansion that I don't even know if it came out to retail. It must have because I think Ashley got it somehow. But then in another game I kickstarted, they reveal all their old stuff and you can, add on to that. So I have that coming with Aqua Garden, that's it. I have that
Oh,
coming with
cool.
another nautical themed game. But so yeah, I'll have that little thing, and it adds like treasure chests and different things to it. But just the base game alone of this is such a neat game. It's so puzzly trying to figure out your own little rondelle on what you're going to do with your boats and how to build up some really strong actions. And there's a bunch of different end game scoring or end game triggers. Somebody could completely build all their boats. Somebody gets to 3, or I think when any of the last docks on the map are full, I think that's might be a trigger. There's a whole bunch of triggers to this one, so you have to figure out like if somebody's close, have I done all the things I want to do? I need to like get moving on some other things, and there's just so many different ways to victory in this one, but it's a really neat game, and that's my number 2, Ostia.
Nice. That looks cool. That the
Mhm.
rondelle mechanism and then the Mancala combination,
Yeah,
that really sounds intriguing.
yeah, it's neat.
Wonderful. So my number 2, now I didn't mention this, but I listed mine in order of what came to mind when I thought nautical theme. So my number 1 was the first one that came to mind. This is the second one that came to mind to me until I kind of started looking a little bit deeper, and that is Reef. So this is a puzzle game that you're building a reef, and the components are very satisfying in these. You got these big, chunky, different shaped discs that you're going to stack on top of each other. And what you're going to do is you're going to be collecting cards. And at the top portion kind of shows you what you get to place onto your board. And so you're going to collect that. But then the bottom portion is going to be patterns that you want to have in order to score. And they're never matching. So be like, oh, you're never going to pull like, I'll get this one because it's going to score me for blue. It's not going to have blue on there. It's going to give you a complete different color. So you're going to have to kind of get a combination. But you're stacking them, creating this whole pattern thing. And then you're trying to kind of do a combination of collecting things that's going to meet the goals for your other cards, but also get cards that's going to meet, what. So it's kind of an interesting what am I trying to say, balance there that you're trying to do between what you're going to pick for what you need and what you're going to pick for what you need to score. Kind of reminds me a little bit of point salad in that.
Yeah, because you either take it for the resource or you take it for the scoring. Yeah.
Yeah. True. And in this case, they're going to do both anyways, but they're never going to work with each other. Right. So, but it's just a beautiful looking game. Like, you have like the base, like it's all got the coral and all the stuff, and you're building your reef. And it's just an interesting game. So that is my number 2, Reef.
Yeah. The components in this feel like, like a really good quality kids toy. Like all the
like
coral,
you're playing
like
Duplos.
Yeah. It's neat. Very satisfying.
Yeah.
All right. My number 1 is probably the only one that has actual fish in the game. Oh, no, I guess Le Havre did. But this one, and like you said, you kind of rank them on most aquatic or nautical kind of thing. And I kind of did the same, whereas this one fit all of the things. There's fishing, there's boats, you're in the ocean and doing everything. This one is Saltfjord. Now, this was a remake of Santa Maria, which had a bit of controversy because there was some colonism in there, whereas this is nothing to do with it, but they remade it and changed a few things, and they just made it even more spectacular. I did like that game because I liked the gameplay of it, but didn't like the idea of the whole colonizing. So now this is so much better. So what you're doing here is you have the player boards you can kind of see on the right there, and they don't have much on them right now, but you're trying to fill up those boards with tiles. Because what you're doing is it's basically a dice drafting game in its heart. And so you're going to draft these dice from, just like you would in Le Grand Havre, you'll roll all these dice and they'll go to different spots. And you're going to draft dice, and then you're going to put them on your board. And the white dice, I believe, go on the columns, and the orange dice go on the rows. So if I took a 3 white... Is it white or light blue? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm going to go down my 3 column and do all those actions starting at the top and moving down. And then that dice will stay on the last action it did. Then on my next turn, I'm going to draft another dice. So I could draft another 3 if there was one, but I'm not going to be able to do that last action because my dice is blocking it, right?
Oh, right.
So you have to kind of
stay there always?
It's till the end of the round.
Oh, okay.
There's 3 rounds. So you have to kind of, figure out, okay, what dice do I want? I might not even get them because they could be drafted from other people, but you're guaranteed a certain amount of white dice and then a certain amount of orange dice every round. And every round you'll get 1 more orange. So you get more actions as it goes, which some games do the opposite. You kind of get less. This one you kind of get more. So you're having a little bit longer rounds, but it's not a hugely long game. Now, the other thing is your resources are tracked on your board with cubes, which many games do that. And it's actually neat because the fish are at the bottom. Those are kind of your base resource. And if you ever upgrade them, you can upgrade them to one of the 3 above, which is wood, paper, and wheat. And then if you get to upgrade again, you might upgrade those to a plank, a sack of grain, and a book. And then those will all upgrade to gold. So anytime you get those resources, you'll put cubes in there, and you can always spend higher resources for lesser. for when you're
Okay.
building or you're buying crates and things and you have to take stuff off your board. You can always pay fish to upgrade as well. So you can pay 2 fish and then upgrade a resource, which is nice because sometimes you need that for technology. Technology is a different set of tracks that you're going to move up and be able to do better things. And then you're going to want to get to the top of some of those tracks because those are going to give you some end game scoring, just like in Ostia did in the other one. Now, building on your player board is important because the more you build, the more actions you'll get when you put your dice there. The other thing that you really want to do is purchase some of these. Oh, what are they called now? The crates. These crates go to the right of your board, and as you build them at the end of the round, however many you have, you're going to get these extra actions. So they're quite important to build as soon as you can because then at the end of every round, including the third, you're going to get to activate those again. Now, fishing is a big part of this game. You can see in the middle there's a whole kind of looks like a
Mm-hmm.
river, but it's a sea. And you're going to start at one end, and when you get a fishing action, you'll get to fish. And if you have no upgraded technology, you'll just get to go with the basic fishing, which is the lesser of the tiles. So you'll grab one of those tiles, flip it over, and it might be fish, 2 fish, or a wood. And you're going to put that in your boat and then carry on. You When you fish again, you're going to move to the next section and flip one again, and so on. And at any time, you can use one of your fishing actions to come back home and then get your stuff because the stuff that's on your boat you don't get to use until you bring it back home. Now, if you upgrade your technology, you're going to be able to look into the juicier piles of fish. So it kind of goes light blue, medium blue, dark blue. As you get to those juicier ones, you're going to be catching lobsters and things that are worth like 3 points each. You might be catching, what's the other thing? I think there's even gold in there at some point
Oh,
that you can
wow.
get some gold. Maybe not in the fishing, but there's other things you can get. You can upgrade your boat as well. That's another technology that you can do. But it's a very, very satisfying game because you're really, doing your own puzzle again, but it's the drafting of the dice, the crates that there might be a crate that you want there or one of the building materials that is face up and you're like, I really need to get that, and somebody took it before your turn. So there's a bit of player interaction where you really need to pay attention to what other people are possibly going to do and what you maybe should be doing on this turn instead of waiting to do that. And then another neat thing is that when you basically play your round until you're done your actions. And once you finish, you'll take a retire action. And then you're going to choose one of these little red spots to go to and do that action. And then that kind of determines player order. So you can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 spots. And if you choose one of the first ones, it's a decent action. But if you choose one of the back ones, it's pretty juicy, but you're going to be in last place then. So you're
Mm.
going to be drafting everything last. So you have to decide, which do I want something really good right now, and then probably be going last every time. So the good dice will be gone, like maybe the building materials and whatnot. But it's such a satisfying game. I just love it. And that's my number one, Saltfjord.
Nice. Great. That one does look so cool.
Yeah,
Like the board looks
it's
really
awesome.
interesting. All right, my number one is our one and only crossover.
Oh,
And this is the first one that came to mind when I was
oh, I see.
thinking nautical, and that is Farshore.
Nice.
I got this game completely because of the theme. Everything about it. I had just been home to New Brunswick. I came back. I played this with you, I think, at the Tabletop YYC
Yep.
weekend event they had. And then I was like, okay, I think I want this. Now, here's like everything I love about this. So you have the sea glass that kind of feels like sea glass.
Oh,
You
yeah,
have
the
like the
resource. Yeah.
shiny shells that's like a pearly shell. You have the seaweed that's like rubbery, like seaweed. Like I grew up, we would grab the seaweed and we would pop them, like because they were almost
Oh, yeah.
like bubble wrap, like some of them, and we
Uh-huh.
would play and pop them. And then you have like your meeples, like you had like the lobster that was so cool and the seagull, and then you have one that's like, what is it, like a beaver or like, I think it's a beaver, which is like, okay, find a beaver and then a little duck or something. And then you have like anchors that are like metal anchors, and like you already talked about the game, so I'm not going to really worry about talking about the game. I just really want to talk about the components. And then you have like, is it a lighthouse the 3D building that you have? So, which is completely useless because I don't think you put anything on there. You just put something at the base. You have the cards at the base of it. But, and then the little boats.
It's even more useless than the Everdell tree. Because
even more useless than the Everdell tree.
You can't even fit stuff on it.
It's not even meant to be. Yeah, it's just, but you have like the lighthouse there. And I fell in love with all the components. Like I was like, it was like the lobster alone, like were so great. And then the little boats and the seaweed. And then it was like, yeah, I was in for that. The gameplay also happens to be great. So, which is neat. And it is unusual. Like it's neat that everybody can finish the era they're in at any time. And then, so you have people finishing completely a different time than others, which is unusual. Like I think only Everdell really kind of I've come across that does that, where people finish different from others.
Yeah, well, because you don't have to like wait for everyone. You just
you just kind of keep going, doing your thing. And
I can't think of another game that does that. Now that
I don't. And then when we shared your picture, we had the picture of all the cards. I shared this one with the little turtle, and that's just such a neat. But like you're looking at that, you have the shell with the pearls. You have like the turtle in this particular case, and then it was just. And then like that one was like a cost of 2 seaweed, and you have like the little seaweed symbol on there. It's just so cool. The thematic, like theme wise, beautiful, beautiful game. And I just so enjoyed all the components in this game. I don't like, do I have a deluxe copy, or are they just all like this?
It's just they don't, what do they call it? The end of the map series.
Okay.
Now that you say that, I think we must have the deluxe, because I have the deluxe for Silverfrost. No, I think we do have the deluxe, both of us.
So what does retail have?
I'm not even sure if it's cardboard or not, because Everdell, I actually kickstarted. It was one of my first Kickstarters.
Right.
And so I got those components. So I don't even know if a base game comes with cardboard. I think they're still... I've never seen a base version of Everdell, so I don't actually even know what it
now was. One of the resources here is like a mushroom, and it's like a little, which not nautical at all, but like it's like a little red mushroomy thing. I'm pretty sure it's a mushroom, but
look now.
Everything else about it, I love it. Not that I don't love the mushroom; they're fine. It's just not as nautical.
Oh yeah, they are mushrooms. Well, I guess they
doubt me.
I don't remember that. That's funny.
Yeah. But so that was my number one, Farshore, our one and only crossover. And it's funny because like you went boats, I went, I don't know, seafood.
More fish, fishy. But you're from one of those towns.
Alrighty.
So that's a big part of it.
Yes. Yeah, no, that's funny. No, I was like, I do appreciate doing this theme. That was cool because I was acquiring so many nautical theme, especially coming back from New Brunswick after that time. Mm-hmm. I got a 3D printer and I 3D printed a whale to go on my mantle. Nice. I was like, okay, because you can't find a lot of nautical stuff out here per se as much as I do back home. So when I went there, I brought a bunch of decor stuff. Although, you know what I found between Calgary and Strathmore on that highway there? Lighthouse.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is there a lighthouse? There's no ocean. There's no sea anywhere near. We're as inland can get. Yeah. There's a lighthouse on the highway. I was like, has that been there all along? I just never noticed it till like just this month.
That's funny.
It was neat. Yeah, because I mean, I've been to a lot of lighthouses. They're everywhere back home. You know, like I went to Peggy's Cove. You got the big lighthouse there. Miscou Island, which is like from the area I'm in, they have the beautiful lighthouse that you can go and visit. And inside is like a museum.
Cool.
So it's really cool, but I never thought I would see one in Alberta. But yes, that is it for our list. Next podcast, we're going to do our recap for the 4-day weekend, which I'm getting so excited about.
One more sleep.
Yes, it's going to be great. It's going to be amazing.
Mel's going to go to bed right after this podcast.
Yeah, I said, okay, I'm going to go to bed early to get as many extra sleep as I can. So I need less sleep during the weekend. But watch, I'll be like, I have a hard time sleeping if I'm excited. So
me too. I have a hard time sleeping at conventions because I'm so wired that it's like I can't turn my mind off. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, you just kind of think about the games you've played and then think about the games you're gonna play, and then well, and then for me, we're like finish playing all day. It's late, it's midnight, past midnight, and then I get back to, and then I start posting.
You posting a lot.
And then it's like another hour before I go to bed. But yes, it's gonna be great. So, but before we call it quits for today, Carla, where can we find you?
I'm on Instagram at boardgamespecialist, all one word, and I have a Facebook page called Red Deer Board Game Fanatics. What about you?
So I'm also on Instagram at Mels_boardgame_room. I'm also on Facebook, YouTube, and Bluesky as Mel's Board Game Room. We also have a Discord channel, which you want to make sure you join. And you guys have started, and I keep saying you guys because I haven't attended yet, but we have started on Monday night a BGA group, and then you guys all kind of get together to play on BGA. I'm not a huge fan of BGA, but I kind of want to go. But what was happening?
It's fun to chat with everybody. It's nice.
Exactly,
to chat with,
right?
Like with some of the people we don't game with that are from, like we've played not this past night, but the one before, Andrea, who was a new Discord member. We got to play with her and chat with her and get to know her, which was nice.
Yeah, so it is neat to be able to kind of connect with different people for sure. So be sure to join our Discord for that. But that's it for this podcast, for this episode. So thanks so much for tuning in. Bye, everybody.
Bye for now.